Hey friends, Ash here, welcome back to Gents. It's been a little while without new fragrances, but here recently we've been blessed with some new releases, including this one right here, the new Prada Paradigme Le Parfum. Le Parfum, that must mean that it's higher quality and more expensive. So this one I bought from Bloomingdale's, of all places to get the fragrance first, Bloomingdale's, 210 bucks. Yeah, it's pretty much all you can do when you pay that amount,
You see, your actions have consequences!
But that doesn't matter. What does matter is if this is actually worth the price. So let's start talking Prada Paradigme Le Parfum and whether or not it's something you should check out, starting with the presentation. First off, with the box. On the front, you have the name of the fragrance, name of the house, size and concentration, minus 100 ml Le Parfum. On one side, you can see that the bottle is refillable. Refills sold separately. On the other side, a QR code. Up top, you have Prada. On the back, just a whole bunch of information. And then on the bottom, your badge code, minus 38A102V. And here's the bottle, which kind of looks like taking the original Paradigme and just inverting it. So instead of black at the bottom, green at the top, it's black at the top, green at the bottom. And instead of black text, it's silver text. You have Prada still on top of the cap. On the bottom, you have the sticker with your badge code. The cap does click into place. You also have a little triangle on the inside of the bottle. Illuminati. Or it's just the Prada logo they went for with Paradigme and Paradox. Or it is the Illuminati. You know what? Let's go ahead and share a couple sprays. Here we go. Atomizer solid. And let's do a couple sprays of the original one as well. Why not? All right, so Prada Paradigme, the original one over here, became a pretty big hit for Prada. This stuff took off as time went on and people got their nose on it. Super versatile, really, really wearable, basically in that same path as YSL myself. It doesn't smell the same side by side, but it's doing similar things. Instead of orange blossom, this one uses geranium, very clean, fresh, and easy to wear. And of course, since the concentration is lower, that means they're gonna charge a lot less for it. This, way more affordable than this over here. So how different is the new one? Is it worth it? We gotta tell you guys, keep this between us, but the opening of the new Paradigme Le Parfum friggin' rules.
Yes! That's awesome!
I love the way this stuff smells when you first spray it on. It is great. It's this opening that melds fresh and sweet together in a way that isn't overdone in either direction. So a lot of fragrances nowadays, they've got vanilla, vanilla, caramel, boatload of tonka, chestnut, all of that stuff. It's really, really popular. It's really, really prominent. And I like most of those fragrances. Like the majority of them I think are actually pretty good. But sometimes they go too far, like with the vanilla. And for other people who aren't quite as into that level of sweetness, it becomes too much. It becomes off-putting, it becomes headache-inducing, it causes a diabetic coma. And with this one instead, they're keeping it modern, but they're reining it in. So the sweetness here off the top, it's more like this golden sort of resinous sweetness, like a lightly sugared crust to it, but not sticky, syrup, heavy vanilla. And even though I said it has a little bit of a sugared crust to it, it doesn't come across like candy either. So it doesn't come across smelling immature or anything like that. You still have geranium in here, just like in the original. Gives it that clean, faintly green edge, has a nice aromatic lift to it, like a slight bit of fizz to it here in the opening. And also a little touch of lavender underneath. Not an official note, but lavender and geranium go together like citrus and ginger. You can use those together all the time, and that's going on in here, even though it's not an official note. You also have bergamot in here, not super strong. Don't get a whole heck of a lot of the citrus. You get a faint citrus bite kind of on the finish when you first spray this on, but it's not really the focal point. And as it starts to settle down, you get this really nice, almost bourbon vanilla that starts to come out. It's slightly creamy, really, really appealing. And like I said before, not too overdone. So even though it has sweetness, it's got multiple different notes that have sweet facets to it. It keeps everything balanced. And compared to the original, to me, this one has more of a defined aura to it. So the original one, like I said, that one's gonna be cleaner, that one's gonna be fresher. It has more of a floral push to it. It's easier to wear in more situations because it's made to be a year-round fragrance, but you know, it's playing in that ballpark with myself and other fragrances kind of like that, you know, that modern style. This one is taking things a little bit deeper, a little bit richer, a little bit more mature. It's also bolder, a little bit louder, and more polished at the same time. In my initial first impressions on this, I liked it way more than I was expecting. This stuff smells amazing in the air. And this stuff is a massive attention grabber because it projects, it fills up the space around you, but not in a way that's too aggressive. So they worked a little magic with this stuff for me. Off my skin, it is just amazing. When I catch whiffs of it, I love it. It sounds freaking weird. Oh man, when I catch whiffs of myself, bro, yeah. Catching whiffs of myself, my body. Who even talks like that? So stupid.
Oh, I'm touching myself tonight.
But yeah, this stuff, addictive. In the air, addictive. And then once you hit the mid, it just fills in and opens up even more. I think the mid is probably the best part for me. The benzoin, vanilla, almost tonka sort of vibe that you have in the mid. It has a nice sparkle to it, really, really appealing. And then it gets this modern amber woodiness underneath. You still have this light zing and aromatic lift that carries over into the mid, so it still, you know, leaps off your skin. It's still balanced, so even though you're gonna be catching whiffs of the stuff, it doesn't come across heavy, and the woodiness that you pick up smells great as well. So it's deep without coming across dark, you know, there's no dankness to it. Creamy without having any smoky aspects, and then also very modern, but not coming across sterile and completely boring. And you get a faint, clean earthiness on the finish as well. So in the mid, if you get a big whiff of this stuff, you're gonna have all those different things happening at first. The little aromatic lift, the benzoin, tonka, vanilla sort of vibe that you have in there, the woodiness, and then a faint earthiness right on the end. But that earthiness, like I said, is clean. It's like stripped down. Compared to the original in the mid, this feels more grown up, feels more assertive, and also way more substantial in a head-to-head with the OG. So in case you can't already tell about kind of the vibe that they were going with this one versus that one, it does become pretty obvious that it's, yeah, take everything, make it sexier, make it deeper, make it richer, make it more refined, but still work within the framework of what the original was with that clean, modern appeal that the original Paradigme has. Basically kind of the idea that you would think most brands would take with a Le Parfum version, right? But sometimes that doesn't happen. Here, that's what they're doing, and they crushed it. Which you would think that's what would happen most of the time with the Le Parfum flanker, right? That's kind of honestly paint by colors, like that's the typical idea, but a lot of brands screw that up. Here, thankfully, that's not what's going on. Now, before we hit the dry down, which is the most important part, discounter codes I would like to share with you. So we've got some for Gift Express, for Fragflex, for Perfume Box, Beauty House, and JOMASHOP. They're also in the description, so you can copy and paste anytime you want to use these. And you can save yourself between 5 and 10% at most of these stores anytime you shop there above their already discounted prices. As I said before, right now this is $210 full retail. When it does hit discounters, I would expect it to go for probably $150 to $160 initially. But that's just my guesstimation based off of, frankly, myself absolute, which is $210 at full retail, same as this, and goes for about $150 right now. I think technically $145 a lot of places. All right, so full dry down, does it still cash in? The answer? Oh yeah. It gets this lightly toasted kind of vibe to it. You know, that vanilla, the benzoin, like I said, the tonka, it takes on that kind of edge. And it does have this subtle warmth to it from the opening that carries through into the mid, into the dry down. It never goes powdery, never goes dessert-like, even into the full dry down. And that's because it stays incredibly smooth and still balanced into that far dry down. You still have that little bit of an aromatic lift, that aromatic push that helps take the edge off of the sweetness. And the aromatic notes, frankly, never enough to really become abrasive or even as noticeable as in the original. It's just all blended together and working together in harmony really, really well. And so kind of the way that I view this fragrance, and I'm not saying this is how Prada approached it, they probably didn't, but the way that I view this scent is that it's a modern vanilla fragrance made for somebody who maybe wants a different take on a modern vanilla fragrance. Maybe a slightly more discerning buyer who still wants that mass appeal that vanilla has, because let's be real, the reason those fragrances are made is because they crush, they project, they get attention, they get compliments, but not everybody wants quite that level of sweetness. So this one gives you sweetness, but then it pulls it back a little bit and gives you these other parts of the scent to balance it out more. Instead of it being like sweet, 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 and then a couple other things, it keeps everything kind of on a level playing field. So it's still sweet enough to be appealing, but it's not so sweet, so bubblegummy, so syrupy, so heavy that it comes across potentially smelling juvenile. And it has just enough warmth to potentially come across, you know, sensual, magnetic, addicting, like a good date night fragrance or night out fragrance. And to me, just completely unexpected. When this was announced, especially with the note breakdown, you know, it's not like the craziest note breakdown. I was like, okay, cool, whatever. I'm sure it'll be fine, I'm sure it'll be passable, good little versatile scent, you know, toss it out there, I'm sure it'll work. So that's Prada Paradigme, but what about performance, seasonality, when you would wear it? I mentioned this a little bit, but the performance is solid. Strong enough to get you noticed, really good projection, but not to the point of being overbearing just because of how this one is made. Really long lasting, very good push from the opening, even into the dry down. It is substantial. The performance for me is great, really nicely done. Now in terms of when you would use this, it is more fall, winter, early spring, evening leaning, though you could wear it during the day. Right now, when I'm filming this video, it's really warm outside, so not really the best time to be wearing this. And in honesty, this is way, way, way more versatile than this, even if I like the smell of this one more. The original you can wear year round, daytime, evening, office safe, all that stuff. The Le Parfum version is more of a specific scent than the OG. For me, Le Parfum, absolute win. This is way better than the original for what I personally like. I don't think it's boring at all. I think it's a great wear. I think the way it evolves from the opening into the dry down is fantastic. It is exactly what a Parfum flanker should do. Deepen it, refine it, make it more magnetic, but keep the overall identity intact. That's what it does. And just comparing this to this, I think that Prada Paradigme Le Parfum is a bigger step up compared to the original than Myself Le Parfum is to the original Myself. Now, I'm not saying Myself Le Parfum is a bad fragrance or that this crushes Myself Le Parfum. I'm saying specifically from here to here, there's a bigger gap than you're gonna find in the Myself releases. That being said, I do think that initially this one's gonna catch a little flack, potentially get crapped on a little bit because it's a new flanker, a new parfum of a popular release that's out there. And this one right here, even though it's really popular, caught flack for, you know, similarities to Myself and other fragrances like that. So I think this one is gonna catch some initial hate, but then as people smell it, as people wear it, I think they're gonna come around on it real quick. So the pros and the cons, TLDR. TLDW. First pro, richer, bolder, better version of the original. Excellent, warm, and fresh balance. The sweetness is polished, not cloying, not headache inducing. That resinous vanilla tonka that you get as it dries down also smells amazing, especially in the air. It's modern, but mature, and the performance is strong. The cons, it is expensive. 210 bucks at full retail, that's rough. The next con, versatility. It's gonna lose out to the original pretty much every time if you're looking for the most versatile, the most easily worn between the two. And for me, those are pretty much the only cons. I love this stuff. This is one of my favorite releases of the year so far. So there it is, Prada Paradigme Le Parfum. Whew. It smells way better off skin, by the way. Not that it's bad off a tester strip, but man, off skin, it really comes alive. So if you go into a store to test this out, do try to spray it on skin if you can. Off a strip, it's okay, but it just really comes alive when you can smell it in the air. It's really, really nice. All right, guys, that'll do it for me. Thank you for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. See you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.